Hello and good morning. It's the 5th of May today. I only saw May the 4th be with you jokes twice. My wife sent me one, and then I saw one on Reddit, which I figured was probably pretty normal, because Reddit's good for bad jokes and overdone Star Wars memes, etc. Feeling pretty good. Energy has been actually better. I've noticed the last few days that I've been, not exactly bouncing out of bed per se, but my energy and my libido and my sort of joie de vivre has been better. It's been better. It's been more stable. I've been tired in the evenings, but I haven't been like as run down as I was last week during the evenings. And as far as I'm aware, it's been a nice, steady sort of little bit better by little bit better as we've gone along. So yesterday I did some work in the morning and some work in the afternoon, and then around 2 o'clock-ish I ducked off and went out to visit a mate. And he's been having some trouble getting self-started. So when we were hanging on the weekend doing the mushrooms, I said, well, I have a small solution that I think will help with getting some motivation and getting you to sort of maybe focus a little more on the do list that you have. And so I said, well, I'll come over on a day during the week, maybe next Saturday or whatever. We figured out Saturday wasn't going to work, but we did figure out that during the week would work. And we talked about some different things that we could do, things that he needed help with around the place, mainly sort of lifting heavy things out of the basement that had been in there when they bought their house. So he put together a list, and I showed up, and he'd already been doing work. And he said, I wasn't about to let you show up and me not have had done anything. And I think his wife was pretty happy with that too. So it was nice to go out and not lecture or feel like I was being pushy or judgy or anything, and just kind of go out and help out with some of the stuff that he needed to get done. And then we hung out and chatted and discussed all kinds of things, a little bit of politics, a little bit of religion, a little bit of this, that, and the other thing. Not really taking positions, more just sort of talking about things in the abstract. But it was nice. I think it was good for him to have a day where he was productive and felt good about it, and then was validated by feeling good about it. I think that was important for him, and it was good for me, because one of the things that I've learned about myself over the last week is that I'm getting better about not being pushy, but I still have a tendency to be lectury, and I'm learning that not everybody makes the same leaps that I make forward, like in thinking. And I'm not saying that as a blow your own horn sort of thing. It can be a real problem when I'm communicating and I rush off ahead to the end of the conversation, and the person that I'm talking with is still in the details. It's important to know when to slow down, or to know when to be patient, or to recognize that I'm running off. And we talked about that yesterday as well. And I sort of reminded myself and kind of reaffirmed that it's useful to be less spastic in conversations and less jumpy. So I'm not racing off to the end of the conversation before the person that I'm conversing with has had a chance to catch up in the beginning or the middle. And so yeah, that was kind of a realization over the last week, and it's made me more cognizant of it, and also more interested in dealing with it, because I feel like it's one of those character traits that can be a liability when I'm by myself, when I'm by myself and I'm consuming media or information, it's good because it means I can get through it quickly. But in conversations with people, I don't think it has as much value. Yeah. Don't really have too much more to talk about. The craving for marijuana left me after Monday, and I haven't really been craving video games. We talked about the LA Noire and how we're going to do that after the 90 days is up. I think we're going to go back to doing like I call it social gaming, but essentially it's when as long as there's other people involved in the room or friends that are involved, like it's going to be I think it'll end up being acceptable again. And in particular, I've been able to sort of separate my work from my hobbies. And separating the work from the hobbies has been a big part of sort of becoming more productive and feeling like I'm getting more done, but also putting the hobbies in their rightful place and taking them out of the equation of work and not letting them be so distracting, because that's where I found that I was having the most trouble. The guy that I hired for one of my facilities quit already. Well, I didn't hire him. The GM hired him. Young guy. It's a shame. It seems like it happens fairly often with our business or with any of these driver labor companies. You know, we talk to them. We explain what the job is going to be. We show them the job. There's no way that they don't know what they're getting into. Like, there's just no way. They should understand, and they should, when they walk away from it, have an accurate version of what they're doing. But I feel like among a lot of young people today, there is a sense of, and I was the same way when I was in my late teens, early 20s. I flitted between jobs. I never stayed anywhere very long, more than maybe 3 to 6 months. I think the longest I had was a year, or maybe 10 months working at a or 9 months, no, probably 10 months working at a camera store before I joined the Air Force, and that was where I had my longest employment stint, at a bit shy of 5 years. And then after that, it was the same thing again. You know, left the Air Force, worked in retail for 6 months, and then worked with my dad for probably another 6 months, and then moved to the States. And when I got here, of course, finding a job was difficult, so I jumped from job to job, kind of improving as I went along, until eventually I made it to the oil field, and then I took another job while I was in the oil field as a safety guy. And that was the job that I had for the longest that I was in when I was in the States. And then when I was let go from that position, True World was the company that I ended up at for the longest, and I'm still there now. So this is the job that I'm in now, is the job that I've been at for the longest, and it took me into 8 years. So yeah, it took me into my 30s before I was willing to really settle down into a position and stay with a company, outside of my time with the Air Force. So I can't blame the kid for being young and stupid, but it is disappointing, and it means that I'm going to have to go do more HR work, and that's it's not as much fun as I'd like, calling random people and like having to go through sort of interview questions and give them the once over. But anyway, otherwise, yeah, no, it's I know I keep calling these videos "Quitting Marijuana and Video Games," but it seems like the quitting marijuana and video games has become more of a secondary consideration. I haven't, like I said, over the weekend I dabbled with the idea of marijuana, and actually I did think about it again this morning. When I woke up, I thought, when we were on vacation, we're going away for vacation in July for a week. We're going down to Tennessee, staying in a lodge or a cabin up on the top of a hill, looking out over the Smokies. It looks very nice. And I thought about, we're going to take some stuff with us, and maybe taking a pen with me would be okay for a week off. But I'm undecided on that because still feels like the same sort of thing. It feels like it would end up being a relapse. So I don't know. But as far as the video games are concerned, like I had spoken with my friends over the weekend, and we were sitting around the fire, and I do miss the interactive media, or the interactive medium of video games. I miss the being entertained while you're doing something. I've noticed television and movies don't hold my attention as well as video games did, and that's not to say that I don't enjoy them, because I do, and I've learned to enjoy them, particularly since I've been catching up on all these shows and movies that I hadn't really had a chance to watch while I was addicted to gaming. But again, there were times when I did get genuine enjoyment, like for example the Witcher game series, the expansion packs I thought were really well done. They were like CD Projekt Red's best work was in The Witcher 3 and the expansion packs for it. They understood the world, they understood the characters, and they put together something that for a single player experience was very engaging and very enjoyable. And when I put it all down, I felt like I got my money's worth out of it, and it didn't take up a crazy amount of my time. And I have had that over the course of my time as a gamer. I don't necessarily consider myself to be a gamer now, though, so I don't know that a return to form in that respect would happen. Lots of I don't knows. I think the important thing is to be cognizant of it and keep thinking on it, though. But we're definitely going to get LA Noire again, because I want to go back to using that as a date night when it's cold or rainy, or too hot outside to go do stuff outside on date night. It's nice to have something you can do inside that's a little different than just watching a TV show together or sitting on the couch and watching a movie. So anywho, that's it from me today. Like I said, we're up to day 78, I think. Yep, day 78. So 12 more days, less than 2 weeks till we hit 90 days. Ka kite.